Welcome to another episode of Ballas Union. We got CP at guard,
Yes, sir.
Goldie at forward,
Yes,
and I'm
sir.
holding down the paint because ever since our center got paid, every other day is a day off.
On PTO time yet again.
He on that James Harden or something.
He said it's Black History Month, so he's taking a whole month off.
Oh, that's a good one.
So I can't find him for that one.
Nah.
Let's get right into the order. So Brett Favre is making waves.
Not with headlines. Me. He's not making no waves with me.
He's making headlines. He said his one of his statements were that Jacksonville Jaguars should draft Devontae Smith over Trevor Lawrence. Right? And I'm like, this guy's an idiot.
Who's gonna throw to him?
Exactly.
Right. I'm like,
Blaine.
Like he can't say nothing crazier. Then he goes and does this.
He doubles down, right?
He tripled down, quadruple. He basically tells Deshaun Watson to shut up and pass. He stated, "You get paid a ton of money to do a certain job, and just do it, and let the chips fall where they may. I think we make too much money to voice an opinion, but I'm not saying he's wrong. And again, I think it's a different day and time, and it'll be interesting to see how the organization handled it. We all know Deshaun Watson requested a trade, and we all know the Texan front office or organization is a complete mess where everybody, even what CP would like to dub as Superman for the Texan, is leaving or wants to leave.
He wants to. He wants to be released. He want to be released. He don't even want to be traded.
Yeah, he need to do a Carson Palmer and pseudo retire to break all the ties and then come back, take a year off, do all that. But before all that, this is the same Brett Favre that was playing Aaron Rodgers for a sucker and playing Green Bay for a sucker.
Yes,
now telling somebody else. And then, and after that, he went back into the division too.
Right, he demanded a trade. This is the same Brett Favre that demanded a trade as well.
But you remember,
second spot.
Remember before they draft Aaron Rodgers. Remember, it was like for a 3-year, 4-year period, he would retire, then unretire, then he'll retire, then unretire, and then that last one they drafted Rodgers the year before, and then the second year he decided, you know what, I'm gonna retire again, and it was like, okay, Brett, go about your business now. We're gonna let Aaron Rodgers start. They wouldn't take him back. So it's kind of like the pot calling the kettle black. You did the same
this is just
thing.
Him calling black people black. I ain't worried about Brett Favre. I mean, at the end of the day, he from where, Mississippi or one of them, and he went to middle of nowhere, Wisconsin, and with a brief stop in Atlanta and all that stuff before that. And now he's just, I don't even know why he's relevant right now. Unless he's
trying to make himself relevant.
He had better talking points talking about Matt Stafford, which we can get into that if y'all want to. But than he did with any of this. Like, it just don't make no sense. Like, he don't play like Deshaun. Only thing that they have in common is they played the same position. But, like, they don't have the same skill set. They don't have the same salary. They don't have the same anything. So he just trying to say stuff to get his name out, because at the end of the day, he's still the same old narcissist that we always knew. Still likes to be mentioned, still likes to find ways to be important. And just like his playing game, whether he's leading the league in touchdowns or leading the league in interceptions, as long as he's leading the league, he don't care. So these are just interceptions he's throwing right now under his gunslinger mantra.
Right. He's just trying to sell more Copperfits. That's all.
Hey, them Copperfits are straight though. I ain't gonna lie. Him and Jerry Rice to be in that commercial. But look, that knee sleeve, I'm trying to tell you.
I'm a firm believer. I got one sitting around here somewhere. Yeah, but it's just a matter of Brett Favre. You just talking out of turn, man. It's the same tactics that you did in your day is the same tactics that he's doing in his day. It's just they're just going about it differently, but they both want the same results. So he's kind of Trying to hear self-talk. That's all that is.
Right. What we got in the late sub? Smash
Check
said he,
in.
yeah, he said he's gonna check in. We wait till the next time out.
You told me you gonna hold his check. I'm gonna show up now.
Take it across to the hash and call time.
Right. Talking about Matt Stafford, how you feel about that trade, CP?
So I don't remember if it was episode 2 of season 2 or last week, but I mentioned that it was time for him to go, and I've been ready for him to go. I wasn't the biggest Stafford fan in the world. Similar to Brett Favre, he's got that gunslinger mentality. I'll tell you what I don't like. What I do like, he's a nice guy. He's done well for the city. Plays hard and all that stuff. Cool. And, it's not like he's a bad player, but I can't ride with everybody pretending like he's super innocent and he's a Super Bowl quarterback just stuck on the worst team ever. Yes, we're the Lions. We always been the Lions. We'll always be the Lions. But the reason why he's got all those fourth quarter comebacks is because he thrown the ball all over the field and throwing it to the other team for the first 3 quarters. Like, he is who he is. He's a gunslinger. Everybody says it's because we don't have a running game, but it's because he didn't want a running game. He wants to throw the ball 60 times a game, whether it's 45 of those passes are forces to Calvin Johnson or he's spreading it out to his new tight ends. But either way, however you want to look at it, he just wants to go someplace where he can throw the ball. So while I do think he'll eventually do well, I'm not certain that he's going to be this answer and magically that's all he was missing. I think he's going to struggle a little bit, and so we're really going to be able to see some of the things that he's really about. As far as golf, I'm like, it's whatever. As long as we still draft a quarterback and still put somebody in the pipeline to learn and develop, whether it's Fields or whether it's somebody, I'll be okay with this little golf rental for a year or a year and change. But if this is our guy, like if he's going to be Mr. Lion now, same old Lions.
Right.
I think Stafford's going to do well for the Rams. I really do. I think this was a good trade. I think the over giving up the draft picks was like a little overkill, but overall, I think Stafford was just burnt. Like you were burnt out on Stafford, I think he was burnt out on Detroit as well. And I just think that when he's on his game, he's definitely a good quarterback. But when he's off his game, he's a bad quarterback. There's really no in between with him. So I think he'll do well with the Rams. The Rams got the better of the deal, minus the draft picks, because they got less of a contract. They don't have less of a burden of that salary that they gave Goff. Because Goff, we all knew Goff wasn't the answer. The Goff got up to a certain point, and then they were like, you know what? The last 2 years, he was like really mediocre on that big salary. So it was a win-win for both programs. And the Lions definitely won by getting those draft picks too.
I agree with half of that, well, more than half of that. But Stafford's contract is going to come up, and one of the main reasons why the Lions are so trash, we've always been trash. You can always find a reason. But one of the main few reasons that really affected us and really affected our ability to be less trash than we normally are is because Stafford had Boardwalk and Park Place and hotels on them and wouldn't do nothing with nobody.
Right.
So you had people like Calvin Johnson. You had people like Ndamukong Suh. You had the whole linebacker core all making pay adjustments, getting money on the back end so that they could sign more people or keep some of the positive things that they had intact, or work on a running back. And instead of him also following suit, he just used that as leverage to get the money that they gave up. So anytime they gave up money, including Calvin Johnson, he would take it. So that's why he was higher paid and all that stuff. And so he hid under, again, I agree that both sides were kind of done with each other. But what I'm waiting to see is how much he was hiding under the cloak of the Lions being bad. And, we don't have this, and we don't have that. Now that you're giving him everything, we'll see what happens. Now, if this were 4 years ago, like when he should have been traded, I'd I'd say wherever he goes, he's probably going to win a Super Bowl. Now, I
Yeah.
think we're really going to have to see.
I got one question. This is directly towards UCP. Why did so he they came to an agreement and they agreed to trade him to a playoff contending team, maybe a Super Bowl contending team. Why didn't Barry Sanders or Calvin Johnson get the same treatment?
So, who brought that up? Darius Slay tweeted that, and good question. Also, when Barry was there, Big Willie was still alive. He died. When Calvin was there, it was the other Ford son. He just died right before Martha took over, and now she's giving it up to whatever the daughter's name is. So there's a couple different generations of terrible Ford family owners that have all changed in those different aspects of it. Also, I think that between Barry and Calvin, they were just so tired of football in general. Like they lost the love of the game because of the lines. Like Calvin was hurt, Barry was tired. So Calvin was like, look, man, there's more to life than this. I'm pretty much out. Now, I think he also understood or already knew that that wasn't going to happen, like as far as getting traded. Barry kind of offered up, like, hey, I'm getting a little bit tired of this, but like, I'll entertain, one of these 1 or 2 year deals if y'all are about it. Cause he was really upset with management because they traded away some of his key offensive linemen. It's hard to remember. And see, a lot of people don't watch the lines. And so that's why there's so much confusion on is this a good thing or bad thing, because nobody really knows. All they know is fourth quarter comebacks are the two highlights that you see before you get to the game that you want. But there was a year, 91, when we went 12-4 and lost to the Washingtons, and that was one of our best years. But we had a really strong offensive line those years, because that's when Barry was rushing for 2,000 yards and everything. Well, that was 97, so this is a little bit before that. But we had a really strong offensive line, but Mike Utley got paralyzed. Andesick was killed. He was going out to get his mail in a car, hit a turn. And so we lost, like literally lost our offensive line. And that changed everything after that. And shortly after that, that's when the Eric Kramer stuff happened, and we gave him to the Bears, and he got good again. So all those things can come into play. So Barry was just tired, but there were different factions of ownership. Yes, they both did them wrong, especially with asking for money back. And that's why Calvin's like, I ain't fooling with them. I ain't worried about them. And I don't blame him. But this is the same Matt Stafford that took Calvin's money, took Sue's money, took Vanden Bosch's money, took Burleson's money, took any running back that we ever thought about having, even though they weren't that good. We, this is the same Stafford that was taking all their checks. So why would he give any money back? He ain't gave no money back yet.
Right.
He's grown up in football being the privileged quarterback. And so he's acted like it. We just don't see that because he's a gunslinger and he's a tough guy and he comes in with broken ribs. It's because he's getting his playing bonuses. It ain't because he's that tough.
He's trying to get paid.
And that's why they call him Pat Stafford too.
Pat Stafford.
So again, I wish him well. I think he's going to do well. You give him the greatest defense on turf right now. You're giving him an actual running game or a decent running game. You're giving him a couple targets to throw to. We'll see. But I will not be the first one to jump out here and be like, oh, this is the greatest thing for him. They're going to win. And if it doesn't work out, y'all can come back and talk to me then. And I won't say I told you so, but I'll look at you like.
I think he's going to do well. I think the first year he's going to do well because he's hungry. He's out of Detroit. It's fresh start for him. But like you're saying, it's a 50-50 coin flip with him. You really don't know what you're going to get out of him. So, you can either be yep or you can be nope.
And that's
but
every
you
pass.
Might not be wrong either way.
And that's every pass with him.
Right.
And all these leads the league in drop passes and all that stuff. You had one of the greatest receivers of all time, and you got the nerve to bring up drops. after he was throwing some of those punts and Calvin was just coming up out of nowhere, triple coverage to catch him.
Yeah.
Right,
Okay.
right. Well, moving it along.
Yeah,
Let's go
please
ahead and
do,
get
'cause I'll
smacked.
stay on that all day.
Yeah. Let's
Turn
go
into
ahead
the
and get
Dick Trey show.
yeah. Let's get smashed in the game. All right. There was something that happened. We could touch on this a little bit. So President Biden signed an executive order to allow transgender to participate in sports. So basically, if let's see the best way to break this out. Basically, if you was born a male or a boy, and you're not considered in high school, you're not, or let's say in high school, you consider yourself to be a woman, you could now participate in women track and field, women basketball, without any backlash, discrimination, or any of, well, you probably still gonna get backlash and discrimination, but you're able to do it now legally. So what are you guys? Well, I'll say this. In theory, it sounds great, but theory don't work in reality. So I'll let who wants to touch on that.
No comment. I'm not even gonna touch it. To be honest with you, this is no comment. CP, no comment.
Oh, shoot.
It's terrible.
I honestly, I don't know if I missed that or not, but I mean, I know it was already starting to happen in some places. I don't know. It's well, I do feel like hold on, give me a
Tread
second.
lightly.
Give me a second. Give me a second. What I'm trying to say is I don't have any issue with people being who they're gonna be. Or rock out, however you need to rock out. That I mean, I'm not in control of that. I don't know. I almost wonder if that's one of those things where I'd kind of have to see it, or it kind of have it to fall in my lap to figure out. I can definitely see the backlash because you'd see it with the track and field people who were like breaking records all of a sudden because they were now running with a different gender. I don't know, man. That's a weird one. I can't.
It's not
While
weird.
I understand it,
It's nothing to understand. It's this is straight BS. It's straight BS. And it's on so many levels, not only on sports level, but so many levels beyond this of what you said that you promised what you want to do. And this is definitely shouldn't be in the forefront. You got little girls that aspire to go to the Olympics and do great things in high school and in their sports. And you got these now transgenders that identify as female. The bone structure is still there. The testosterone is still there. You know what I'm saying? The things that make them a boy are still there. You know, physically appearance, they're not there. This is pandering to an audience. This is pandering to a group that is privileged. It's just privileged, bro. And I'll leave it at that, man. This is really pissing me off.
I get that. I guess where it gets confusing for me, like even more confusing for me, is when you see stuff like the what was her name, Sarah Fuller, who kicked a couple of extra points for the
Right.
college
Yeah.
team. So oftentimes you'll get some women or some girls who kind of break into the men's or the boys' side, and we celebrate that, them being able to hang or them being able to be good enough to do their thing. And I guess, does that take away from that, or do we have like
it's not even a comparison. She's a girl. She knows she's a girl. She's playing a man's sport. She's a woman. She's playing a man's sport. So it's not like she's going out there and she's playing quarterback, running back. She doesn't stand her place. She identifies as a girl. She's suited up as a girl. But then you got this other side where she identifies. It'd be different if she had identified if she was a male, and now she identifies as a female and want to run track and do all these female sports. It just don't sit well with me. This doesn't sit well with me at all.
Smash. Yeah. Any words?
I don't even know if I got a comment on this one, man. I mean, Because I mean, yeah, I don't know. Because I don't think the transgenders should be in sports like that because it's not a fair game. I mean, like even if you got a girl that's now became a guy, they're taking hormones, they're taking testosterone. So is that allowed?
Right.
In the sports world, because in most places you can't take steroids or whatever. So I don't know. It's just I don't think it's. I think it's one thing to identify, but when you start trying to say like you can play this sport or do that, I don't know.
It seems like you need to get to like a root cause or a motive base. Like if there's no other team, or like are you doing
No.
it just to say, this is an extension of my rights. I have the right to do this as well. I don't know.
You're depriving little girls and women of their natural right to participate in their gender specific sport. That's what you're doing. You're like Smash saying, now you let them take testosterone, you let them take steroids, all this stuff that's going on in their body, they're still internally male. You can't change that. They're still male. You can't just biologically change them into a female. They're still male. This bone structure, the tendons, everything is still equivalent to a male. Now, that same female, how about you go run track with the males and identify as female and see how successful you are, and you won't get the same success rate. So it's cheating. It's cheating. Period.
Are there any examples of any transgender male participating in male
no
sports now?
Female to male, female to male. No, it's always male to female, and this is where the rubs happen at.
Yeah. Well, I guess while not the same thing, you are starting to see that in like college acceptance, like with all girls schools like Spelman.
That's fine.
And so I don't know, man. This is
not in that. I mean, you can
get on a slope for me to.
You can be on the debate team. You can be on the all academic teams, those type of things. But when it comes to athletics, you have to draw the line. You have to draw the line when it comes to athletics because it's an unfair fight.
It's a squiggly line, brother.
Right. It is.
I mean, maybe just start a league. Transgender league.
Yeah, that's what has to happen. The neutral league, right? No male, no female. It's just the neutral
co-ed,
league.
Right? Yeah. I don't know.
Yep.
My take on it is if they fully 100% completely went through the transformation, saying, then I'll be like, okay, at least then I know you're serious and not trying to, and not trying to finesse the system or not trying to juke the system. So if you fully, not even if you're in the process, you need to be fully complete with the process, and I'll be okay with it. Because Goldie, you coach, I coach, and we seen parents held their kids back from high school.
Competitive, yeah.
Yep. So they could be competitive. So it's not far fetched for seeing parents to be like, you know what, son, you're just not good enough. You're 6'6", but you can't play ball with the other boys. So we're gonna say next year you're a transgender woman, and you're gonna be the only woman out there dunking.
So a couple of things with that. Wow, that's funny. I was trying not to laugh at any of that, but two things about that. One, I'm sure there's got to be some documentation, some medical records, and even if you do elect to have like full out surgeries and all that stuff, there's like a psychological component to it. So like you really have to go through some therapy and some psychological evals to I guess get the okay to go ahead and go through those processes. Not saying you can't identify, but like to go forward medically, you have to get the okay to figure out if you're stable enough to go through these changes. How they figure that out, I don't know. But the other thing is, isn't there like a similar to like transferring schools, like that 1 year waiting period. So like if you are trans, you have to go through like you basically got to sit out a year in order to let the hormones and stuff regulate.
I have
I,
no.
That's
I
a
have
good
not
rule to
done enough.
have,
I haven't done
but
enough
I don't.
research,
It's
but
not
I
a rule
swear it's
though.
out there. It's not out there at all.
It's not out there, but that's a great rule to have.
Oh well,
Wait a minute,
I didn't make that up. I know that for
because the male to female, they're still going to have to take these drugs to keep the testosterone down, to suppress the testosterone, so that she won't grow, that she won't grow a beard and have those male characteristics. So that's still enhancement. They're still enhancing things that are enhancing this person's body to keep them gender specific. So this is a farce, man. This is privilege at its finest right here. That's all this is, man. Just if you want to be a female and go to school, get education, do what you need to do, but stop infringing on athletics when it's competition involved. I'm just thinking about my nieces. I'm just thinking about girls that put all their time and effort into this sport, and for a male turned to female comes in and wants to dominate the sport. And what happens is every time this happens, we get the same results. They become dominant, and you got these girls at the wayside looking like this is not fair. And it's just crazy. We got so much to worry about in this country, in this world. This should not have been on the top of the executive order list. Just shouldn't have been.
Shouldn't have been on the top of our list.
On the bright side, yeah. On the bright side, that person can hold a record in both women and men's sport.
But the
Right. Moving along. We lost
on the bright side.
right. Another legend has passed. John Chaney.
Yeah.
I remember at an early age, young, I started getting into basketball because of the Bulls. They dominate the 90s. And I remember John Chaney, at the time, I don't know who he was. I just knew he was a guy that said he was going to kill the other coach for basically paying off the ref. And I thought that was the greatest moment in sports history at the time.
Hot, boy. John Chaney was hot, boy.
You know what I'm saying? He's known to hold his players accountable on and off the court, which is rare nowadays. His zone defense was crazy, ridiculous. And man, he brought a lot of wins to Philly, or Tampa, I should say.
Mm-hmm.
I remember in the 90s, I can't remember if it was Elite 8 or Final 4, Sweet 16. It was one of those games, and when the game came to New Orleans, they would, they'll give you tickets and stuff like that to go to it was the Final Four, because they gave you tickets to all the kids, and you got to go to the arena where they practice at, right? Mm-hmm. And it's on Canal Street, and it's all kind of hustle and bustle going on, and John Chaney jumps out the car, and we all playing basketball, and for him to have all this hustle and bustle going, and you see a group of 12 kids run up on you, in a city that you're not from, and be like, "Hey, John Chaney, what's going on?" Hey, the guy stopped, talked, conversate. We had one guy on our team that was a Division I prospect, and he was really trying to, he gave him his number, he took his number down, and like he was gracious enough to take the time out, and here's a group of black kids, that admire this man, for him to take the time out and sit there and hold a little 3-4 minute conversation. That's something I always remember about John Chaney. That it was just so much chaotic going on, the players going in, and flashes popping, and people just and for him to just take us and have that little 2-3 minute conversation, ask about how our season going, and whatnot. That's just epitome of who he was as a coach, as a person, as a black man.
That's real.
Okay, moving along. The Super Bowl is this week. We have Tampa Bay, which half the panel hates, and and the Kansas City Chiefs, which I think is unanimous that everybody wants the Chiefs to win just because of Mahomes.
I want want to end in the tie. Just all of them get COVID and end in the tie. How about that?
I'm stuck because yes, Mahomes and all that comes with Mahomes and Tyreek Hill and all that. Even my crazy family, they'll get another win, and I got to hear it. But I respect Arians and all that staff, man. You see that picture of them, and I'm like, it'd be nice if they could get one. But if it come with Tom Brady's name on it, I'm like,
You think Brian Leftwich is gonna get credit when Tom Brady's a quarterback?
I don't know. You think Eric Bieniemy's going to get a job when Andy Reid's the coach?
Arians had the nerve. He had the gall to get on national TV and try to down Belichick. A lot of this was more about Brady than Belichick. Like, come on, man. Like, we give Tom Brady his credit, right? He deserves all the credit that he gets. But we're not gonna just say Tom Brady he was the everything and the all. You could just belittle a coach and say it was more him than it was actually Tom Brady. Arians is an, how can I say it without calling him? He is what you sit on. That's what he is. And I don't like him as a coach, and as being an AFC member, AFC South, I don't want him to win. I'd rather see Kansas City win it and get egg on his face because he's too arrogant of a dude for me. Too arrogant of a dude.
Smash.
Being right here in Kansas City, I'm gonna go with the Chiefs. I think it's all rigged anyway. They just passing the
torch.
Tom Brady passing the torch. That's all they're doing, making some stuff come back. Tom Brady, he wouldn't really be nothing. He needs to give all his credit to Mo Lewis because that's the person that hit Bledsoe that took him out of the game. That Tom Brady got to come in and everybody could see what he was doing because he was riding the bench. Right. So that's where he should really get his credit to. I need to hear that name in his Hall of Fame speech. But
right,
Drew Henson.
He's a good quarterback, man. I'm not gonna take anything with Brady, but at the end of the day, I don't want to see anybody blame or give him over too much credit because we all know, we all play football and we know football is the ultimate sport. It takes everything from coaching staff to players to trainers to fans for it all to work in unison for it to actually pull off a championship. In any sport, it doesn't happen like that in any sport, but football. So for him to just throw Belichick under the bus and Tom Brady doesn't come back and say, you know what, whoa, Arians, you feeling yourself now, homie.
Tom Brady ain't gonna say nothing though. That's not his style.
No, it's not.
He ain't say nothing about that red hat in his locker. That's not his style. Look, Tom Brady need to thank Drew Henson for getting drafted by the Yankees to play third base so he could have a better shot of being mediocre for Michigan. So, it is what it is. Either way, one of Big Ben's old cronies that he threw under the bus gets a ring. So it's a win. I don't know. While I'm not necessarily enthused about any outcome of the game, unless it's just a crazy back and forth, which is just something that would be cool to watch. Like, it is what it is. I don't care that much.
I don't think the Bucs can keep up with the offense of Kansas City because they seem to be able to score at will. It might just be a shootout. I don't know. We'll see. I'm just glad we got football. So
we haven't got it for 2 more days.
I'm not giving the Bucs no credit. I hope the score is 100-0.
All right.
But then you got one of those college, the SEAC or SNEAC or something starting in April or something.
The black colleges are playing in spring.
Yeah.
A lot of actually there's a lot of schools. There's quite a few schools that's pulling out in the spring ball already.
Yeah, Alcon is pulled out already. There's a couple other ones that pulled out already, and it's just a matter of the finances. How can we keep these kids healthy? How much is it going to cost for us to keep these kids healthy versus how much the budget that we have to play with? And it just makes sense, if financially, if you can't maintain these kids' health, just don't play. And it's, you want to see them play, but don't let finances be the reason why you risk these kids' health. So that's the thing that
it's going to cost more to get them healthy than it would have been
right. And you think about, they got to get on a bus. So you think about these confines of them kids getting on these buses, and it's no, you can't separate them like you need to. Not enough, it just makes sense. If you can't financially make it happen, then just forfeit the season. That's what I'm thinking.
Actually, bus is safer than plane because you can have the windows open. You get more
silver tubes.
Huh?
Both of them are silver tubes. One got wheels.
Yeah, but at least on the bus you can have the windows open.
Windows
you
open.
Got the airflow. On the plane, everybody's breathing the same air.
I don't know. I played black college, and the bus windows don't open, and it's sometimes you didn't get a chance to shower. You got on that bus and you bombed out to back to school.
I played an obscure sport. We had church buses. Church buses with a little U-Haul attachment, right?
It's not the finest of facilities, Gio.
Okay, well, never mind then. Never mind.
Must be thinking about Oregon with the Nike jets and the Nike buses. Maybe those have windows.
No, they don't open. And you
should. Right. So anybody got any team? Shoot, anybody been keeping up with the NBA? I should say.
Well, I follow my Rockets. I mean, that's about it. I mean, I'll catch a game here and there, but I'm impressed with just to be a homer for a second, and I'm impressed with them banding together and trying to make the go of it without Harden. So
I like John Wall.
It's been fun to watch. Yeah, he's been playing really well.
Yeah. But Wood, I actually like to. I'm not impressed. I kind of knew he was good. He just didn't have the opportunity. But Wood is really showing out. My Chicago Bulls, they score a lot of points, give up a lot of points. So I guess it's fun to watch. It's like an NBA jam game.
LaVine is having a great season, man. I'm thoroughly impressed by LaVine.
Yeah, he's definitely should be an all-star, but he probably gonna get snubbed again. Who knows?
The Pistons are up to 28th on the power rankings, so there are two teams worse than us now.
That's an
improvement.
Not last.
No, it's not. It was we started last, and we stayed last, and we done thanks to these Wizards meltdowns, and I forgot who the other team is, but we're in 28th.
Is it the Hawks?
No, the Hawks are middle of the pack. They're
Hawks beat us. Front.
We all right.
We all right.
Yeah. We could be better. We should be better, but
but NBA is so long and so drawn out. If your team is doing actually well, you're gonna tune in and watch and follow. But most of the time, 60% of the people are like, now it's February, right? So all our eyes are really not on NBA right now. Our eyes have turned and focused on college. Where the stand is on college, who's doing what, who's on the bubble, going into March. We're not going to focus on NBA until April, May, somewhere around that time when the playoffs start. So
now Zion's been playing pretty well.
No, they haven't.
Zion has. You seen Zion's numbers?
Oh, yeah. Individually, yes, but as a
team.
I
ain't say the team. I said Zion.
Hey, I don't like
individual statistics don't win games unless you win the game.
I didn't say they was winning. I said Zion has been playing pretty well.
Those two teams, the Mavericks and New Orleans, I just can't figure these teams out. How do you have so much good talent on your team and it just doesn't culminate into wins?
The Mavs got blown out by the Warriors tonight.
Yeah, I was watching that before we got online, before we started recording. Yeah.
It just makes the Mavs. Luka's might be overrated. Empty stats.
Zion.
I think they figured Luka out. That's all.
Yeah.
I feel like he got a 1-2-3 triple D, like he's on the Mighty Ducks, and they figured out how to stop it. Now he can still pass and he can still do a few things, but they're daring him, to rely on that. And he wants to do his 1-2-3 step back 30-footer, and they're all over that. But I know Porzingis is back though, so maybe they're going to be able to work some things around that.
Like I said last year, and it just came true this year. But they've been coaching and using Porzingis wrong the whole time.
How should they be using him though? How do you think they should?
In the post.
Oh, ain't no post no more.
Right.
But see, Porzingis don't know how to play the post because he's
out facing the basket type.
Like the big man doesn't have to be the post guy anymore, so they don't learn the post moves. Last time he played post was probably in 4th grade when he was the tallest person. And
dude, they got that coach. What's his name? I forgot his name right now. But that coach won the NBA championship with a post player.
In what year?
You got
Carlisle.
Carlisle,
In what year?
Dirk and
the Dirk.
beat Golden State. Did they beat Golden State?
No, they beat
They beat the
Miami.
Heat.
They beat the Heat. They beat the Heat. Yeah, that's right.
JJ Barea beat the Heat.
But it was led by Dirk Nowitzki though.
Jason
Yeah.
Terry.
Dirk
beat the Heat.
Nowitzki beat San Antonio. Dirk Nowitzki beat the Lakers.
That was one.
Yeah, but Jason Terry and JJ Barea beat LeBron and Bosh and Wade.
Yeah, the
I'll
Jet.
give you that.
The Jet had acted fool in that finals. He definitely.
I'll give you that.
The Jet
Yeah.
But don't forget Deshaun Stevenson with that defense.
But we're saying everybody but Dirk. So going back to my point, and that was in 2008, maybe 2000.
something like
No, 2011. 2011.
Yeah. It's not too long ago. 10 years.
But they
That's a lifetime.
they shouldn't have won that championship. Dirk carried of all the supporting cast, like Dirk was the sun and everybody orbited around him, and it just seemed to work that year. You know, they couldn't duplicate it. That let's put it that way.
Yeah, and so Carlisle can't do that with two big dudes.
Right.
And both of them have different skills than Dirk had. And mind you, Dirk had already been in the league for 15 years at that point. So he grew up in that post world. And even when he first got to the league, those first 3 or 4 years, he was lightweight trash till he figured it out.
He said lightweight trash.
I mean, you know, he wasn't Hall of Fame until he continued to do it for the Mavericks and figured out what the hell was going on.
Right.
And so I feel like Luka and now I don't know, Porzingis is about at that point where he's just going to be who he's going to be. But Luka, you know, had the hot year. Then what happens in everybody's sophomore year? People study. People try to figure you out. Very few people are able to jump right back in and be unfazed. Even if he's phased, they still have to make some adjustments. But I don't know. Well, I guess we'll have to see if he's going to be able to make adjustments. So maybe we won't see who Luka really is until next year.
Okay. Smash.
Y'all see.
Man, I'm good. You know, we got some new trainers in the back. That's why I was a little late. They taping me up, messed up my tape. So, you know, apologize for my tardiness. But, you know, they going to be all right. But no, man, I'm
of the dog ate my homework.
Hey, man.
Sound like you just got done playing college football.
Baby, they not buying an excuse.
The other guys on COVID protocol, so you know, just can't take break. And then the rest of them down there with Gio at the Super Bowl.
All right.
Right. Goldie.
My one thing is let's just keep government out of sports. Like you meddle in so many other things, and one thing that unify us as a race, as a people, as a culture, as a world. You know, World Cup shows up, everybody bands together to watch World Cup. When Super Bowl happens, everybody bands together. Sport and music is one of the two purest things that collectively brings everybody together as a whole. Government, keep your hands out of it. Keep your hands out of it.
The World Cup is pretty corrupt, though, even though I love it. And the Olympics are as well, and the government be in both of those.
Yeah.
And, you know, they build stadiums in remote places and then leave everybody homeless and destitute.
But just keep government out of it. You know, the sports, music, and food are things that generally draw people together, and they put all their biases to the side. To watch what this administration is doing to force this upon young ladies in their particular sports, it's kind of unjust. It's terrible.
We're out.
Peace.